In this video, I'm going to discuss how we are going to select the best currency pair or the best stock to trade. In trading, the challenge is to find the best currency pair to trade or the best stock to trade. If you have watched my previous video on how to grow a small account, I told you that what we need is we should catch big moves in the market with a small stop loss. So we need a method that can tell us that this currency pair or this stock has got the potential to make a big move. In this video, I'm to teach you how we are going to code a currency strength meter that is going to give you a rough idea that this currency pair or this stock has got the potential to make a big 100, 200, 300 pip move. Let's start. This is a Euro-Yen chart. Look, Euro-Yen from here made a movement of more than 300 pips. It was a big move. We could have made a very good entry with a very small stop loss over here, even over here. But how do we know that Euro-Yen is poised to make a big move like 200, 300 pips? You see, such a nice, beautiful move, a very big bullish candle, also known as Marabuzu. In this video, we are going to learn how we are going to predict or forecast that this currency pair, Euro-Yen, is poised to make a big move. And we will be using relative strength index. If you have been trading for a while, you must be familiar with the relative strength index, also known as RSI. RSI is a very powerful oscillator. Its value oscillates between 100 and 0. If it is above 80, we call it overbought, and if it is below 20, we call it oversold. See, here the value of RSI was 32. It was in the region of oversold. And we could have made a prediction that it is going to make a big move. This is H12, 12-hour chart. In RSI, when price is oversold, most of the time it will go up and become overbought. Then it will go down and become oversold. So this oscillation always continues. Overbought, oversold, oversold, overbought. Now it's not always like that. In a strong trend, oscillator like RSI can continue in an overbought condition or in an oversold condition. So with experience, we'll know that the trend is strong, and we should continue in that trade. Now this RSI reading is only for Euro-Yen. What we need is a method that tells us about the individual currency, not a currency pair. This reading 32 of RSI on Euro-Yen H12 shows that it is oversold on the 12-hour chart. And on this one, 33, it's also oversold on daily chart. But what we want is a method that just gives the strength of individual currency like euro, yen. So what we are going to do is we'll measure the strength of individual currency and pair a currency which is overbought and having high rating like 70 with the currency that is oversold and having low rating like 30, 25. These type of currency pairs then have a potential to make a big movement because the currency that is overbought will now try to become oversold and the currency that is oversold will try to become overbought. Again, look at this thing. This is Aussie dollar. Here you see 22 RSI reading on H4 and it makes roughly 140 pip move. If you could have just captured 100 pips, it would have been a very good trade for us. See, RSI is also used to find divergences. Here we have a very good divergence. This is the time before the NFP report last week. I see price is moving up and the RSI is moving down. This is the divergence. We could have made a short trade and made 100 pips over here. Here also it made $200 pip move. And the rating was 14. RSI was highly oversold. So what we want, as I've said, a method that tells us the strength of an individual currency instead of a currency pair. Let's see how we do that. This is the currency strength meter that I have coded in Python. Before you watch this video, I would suggest you watch the video in which I have shown how we can connect Python with MT5. We are going to connect Python with MT5 and download live data. So first watch that video. You should also watch that video on Learn Pandas for algorithmic trading because we have to use Pandas in this video, and you should also watch the video on Taleb technical analysis library for Python in Python and NumPy for algorithmic trading. Once you have watched these videos, then you can watch this video and you will easily understand what I'm saying. We import date time from date time, import date time, and we import MetaTrader 5 as MT5. MT5 is an alias. This MetaTrader 5 is an API that is provided by the MetaCodes Corporation that makes MetaTrader 5. And by importing this MetaTrader 5 as MT5, we can easily connect Python with MT5 and download any currency pair, any stock data, any time frame. We import Pandas as PD. PD is an alias. We import NumPy as NP, and we import Taleb. Now we make a list of currency pairs that we are going to download the data. See, this is euro dollar, euro pound, euro yen, euro Aussie, euro kiwi, euro Swiss franc, euro loonie, pound dollar, pound yen. So there are 28 currency pairs that we are going to download the data. Now we define the function currency strength. This is a time period on which we are going to measure the strength of a currency. This is the period of RSI. Most of the time we will be using 10, 14 or 7. And this K is the bar. So we'll not use the last bar because it's the most recent bar and it's not closed. We'll just use the second last bar, which is just closed. We initialize MT5, and if we are unable to initialize, we'll get an error and we'll quit. We get 60 bars. You can also download 100 bars, but since we'll be using 10 RSI, 60 bars is more than enough for us. We're going to define a RSI DF empty data frame. And for pair in currency pair. Pair in currency pair, this is the currency pair list, individual pair. So we are going to iterate on each individual pair in that list. And we are going to tell MT5 to copy rates from position. This is the pair, this is the period. 0 is the most recent bar, and look back is we want to get the 60 most recent bars. Once we download this data from MT5 for this pair and time period, we're going to convert it to a pandas data frame. And from that pandas data frame, we are going to use starlib to calculate the RSI relative strength index df.close. And this is the period N. Once we have downloaded the data for these 28 currency pairs, we have to shut down our connection. It's always a good practice that in programming, you always close whatever open connections you have in your program. If you keep a connection open later on, it can cause problems. So once we have done with downloading, we just shut down our connection with MT5. Now let's do the calculations. We go to define our strength, empty data frame. Strength of a US dollar is, we want dollar euro RSI. But since we have got euro dollar, so we have subtracted from 100. And we got the value of RSI of a dollar euro. In the same manner, we want dollar pound, but since we have got pound dollar, we subtracted from 100. Always remember RSI is an oscillator, maximum 100, so we always subtract from 100. Then we have this dollar loonie. This is what we want. Dollar yen. Again, we should have dollar kiwi, but we have got kiwi dollar, so we subtract from 100. And in the same manner, we subtract from 100 this Aussie dollar, and then we have got this dollar Swiss franc. So this is how we want to calculate the strength of dollar. The strength of dollar is the RSI values of all the currency pairs that have got dollar as a base or a core currency. We add all those RSI values, and then we subtract that, and then we divide that total with 7, because there are 7 values, so we divide it by 7. We take the average. This way we have got a more robust value than having a simple reading on a single currency pair. In the same way, we measure the strength of euro. Euro dollar, euro pound, euro yen, euro or Aussie, euro kiwi, euro Swiss franc, euro card. Then we have got pound, and in the same way we calculate for pound, we calculate for Swiss franc, we calculate for Japanese yen, we calculate for Aussie dollar, then we calculate Loonie, Canadian dollar, then, and we also calculate for Kiwi, New Zealand dollar. And after that, we return the strength of last K bar. Now, this is how we define the currency strength function. Now we define our dashboard. This dashboard has got N parameter. N is just the period of RSI that we want to calculate. We define a list of periods, 2 hour, MT5 time frame. This is the enum that MT5 uses to identify a time frame. H2, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, 6 hour, 8 hour, 12 hour, and daily. And we have an empty list, and for X in range 7. Range 7 means we'll iterate from 0 to 6. We calculate the currency strength. If the period 0 means H2, it will replace it with this value, enum, and we give 10, let's say, then 10 and this second last bar, it converts to list, and we append that to the list. And then we convert that thing into our data frame, rename the columns, dollar, euro, pound, Swiss franc, yen, Aussie, Loonie, Kiwi, and we re-index it, and then we return that data frame. So this is how we have defined our currency strength meter. Let's now use it. Let's open the terminal, run the Python interpreter, and import. This file is CS, currency strength. So we will import it. We have just defined the function in that file. Panda is going to import those functions for us. Now let's see currency strength for daily time frame. RSI period 10. This is a yesterday's bar. See, we have got the currency strength on daily time frame. In this currency strength, see, yen is the weakest. You can say yen is oversold, and Aussie dollar is the strongest. We can say it is overbought. Now let's see what our dashboard tells us. We tell the dashboard that we want to use 10 period RSI. Okay, it's giving an error because we haven't defined this PD. So let's define it also, import it. See, now we have got this dashboard. dollar, euro, pound, Swiss franc, yen, Aussie dollar. This is Canadian dollar and this is Kiwi dollar. And this is the H2 row, 2-hour row, 3-hour row, 4-hour row, 6-hour row, 8-hour row, 12-hour row, and daily. In daily, as we had said, yen is the weakest and euro is the strongest. So we should be looking for a trade on daily euro yen. We're going to pair a currency whose reading is above 60 with a pair whose reading is below 40, generally. And on H12, again, euro, this is euro. Euro is the strongest. Followed by Aussie dollar and Kiwi dollar. So we can look for, and yen is the weakest. 3 pairs, euro, yen, Aussie yen, and Kiwi yen. In the same manner, we can look at this H8 chart, H8 time frame, and we can see that again, this now an H8, Kiwi is the strongest and yen is the weakest. So we have identified 3 pairs that we should try to trade today or tomorrow. Euro yen, Aussie yen, and Kiwi yen. Let's see. So we have identified, this will give us a good trade, short trade. Of course, we can't just enter like that. We have to know, as if you have watched my previous videos, now we will use candlestick patterns and concept of support and resistance and MACD to make now the right decision. But we have identified 3 currency pairs that we should now closely monitor in the next 2 days. One is Aussie yen, other is Euro yen, and the third is this Kiwi yen. See, it has all made good move, it's going up. So we have got now good idea that it is now going to give us a good trade. But you see here, this MACD is bullish. Here again, MACD is bullish. So we cannot make an entry, but just look at this chart. We'll monitor these 3 charts in the next 2-3 days, because these are the 3 pairs that have got good strength. Or one pair is overbought, one currency is overbought, and another currency is oversold. We can also use this concept in identifying the best stocks to trade. I hope you like this video. In this video, I've explained the method that we use to identify the currency pairs that have the most potential to give us a big move.